Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good rainy day to you.
A rare summer rain. It's actually autumn, technically. It's technically autumn. A rare, technically autumn rain.
It's near the first few weeks of autumn here in Australia, and that means we're heading into winter.
Why, merely on the other side of the continent, a tropical cyclone is hitting today.
The irony that we got a light splash of rain when there's a potentially life-threatening disaster over east. But it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing to be worried about, right? It's just a little cyclone, little hurricane. Nothing a bit of WD-40 won't fix, right?
I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick Valentine, the other one of the co-hosts.
This is, of course, JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast.
It's a show.
It's a show. We can all agree.
It's a show about a show, but we're not watching that show.
No, I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick Valentine, the
Did
other
I
one.
already say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying it again.
But I am Liam S. Smith.
I'm sorry, who are you?
You can't take that away from me.
I mean, I can't take it away.
Today we watched episodes 39 and 40 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and boy, does nothing happen in these two episodes.
No, everything happens. It's just compressed into a tightly formed thing that we already knew about.
Things that happen in these episodes, I will now enumerate, thereby rendering the recap segment pointless.
You don't have to listen to an hour of this podcast, only 4 minutes of it.
Julian gets orders to go to Fazan.
Mm-hmm.
He argues with Yang about going to Fazan.
And he loses because Yang always wins.
He says goodbye to everyone on Iserlohn Fortress.
Yep.
And then he watches a documentary in transit.
The documentary is about the history of the space age.
Yes.
Basically recapping that other episode that we had that recapped
The history of the space
the history
age.
of the space age.
Nick,
Yes.
I've got some additional details on the upcoming JoJo Day live stream for you.
Ooh, tell me more.
This is from JoJoNews.com, who have shared that Japanese comedian, media personality Kendo Kobayashi will be emceeing the event, and the voice actors of previous JoJo series will be appearing.
Ooh.
And the reason I want to share this is just the note in this article that let's see, where was it?
Is this a recurring thing, or is this just a one-off, hey, we're doing
It's a one-off thing. It's like, well, they've done things like this when there's been other big JoJo's announcements.
Oh, but this is Sans
But it's
big
not a
announcement. This is just...
No,
Oh, yeah.
we hope there's going to be a big
Oh,
announcement.
okay. All right. Gotcha.
Have you not been paying attention when I've been talking about this for the past 3 episodes?
I can't remember the last 3
Good
episodes.
God. Anyway, the reason that I bring it up again,
Yeah.
the thing you should already know about,
Sure.
is that actor and comedian Kendo Kobayashi has previously been on a pilgrimage tour around the world with fellow comedian Kunihiro Kawashima to follow the path of the Joestar group in Stardust Crusaders.
So he's been to Egypt, or is he currently in Egypt, or...
No, Nick.
The Stardust Crusaders?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to Egypt.
He's been to Egypt.
Yeah.
But he also went to Singapore and India and Africa.
Okay. All right,
He
I'm
did
with
the
you.
whole trip.
The whole trip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he going to do other parts as
No,
well? Oh,
Nick, you're just
alas.
You're just not getting it, Nick.
I
This
have...
happened in 2019.
Oh, what? It happened in 2019?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, never mind. Man, that'd be a great trip, though.
Yeah.
You got Singapore. you got India.
Patreon.com/JoJo as well.
By
We're doing
God.
the Stardust Crusade.
Could we... Okay, legitimate question. How much do you think it would cost to do the Stardust Crusade?
More money than I have.
But how much do you think...
I don't know.
Because, like, technically speaking, they get a submarine to go from...
Well, yeah, but they have the Speedwagon Foundation for that. And we've, of course, got the...
The Patreon
Yeah.
for JoJo's... But we could never afford a submarine. But how much do you reckon to get the real authentic
If we sign into
experience?
AUKUS,
Okay, yep.
we'll get some nuclear power. Actually, we will never get some nuclear powered submarines.
Yeah. We'd also need a cruise ship at one point.
Well, it's haunted. We need a ghost ship.
True, we need a ghost ship.
I don't think you understand it, because they didn't reenact the battles.
No. No, they obviously just went to, like, Singapore and then off to India and like,
Yeah.
oh, it's cool here. But at the same time, if you wanted to do, like, a legit experience, right?
Well, I'd have to shoot you with an arrow first.
Ooh, that's gonna be a lot of
And I would
money.
enjoy that.
And it's like, it has gold in it as well, so it's an expensive arrow.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Oh, but if we did, imagine how much clout we would
Yeah.
produce from a show that
Imagine
has
how
not
many
been...
likes we'd get on Blue Sky.
Oh, that's literally the only reason we live now is just for likes on Blue Sky. What's the thing on Instagram? Is it like a repost
Also
or
likes.
yeah, okay. We get likes on Instagram. We get likes on
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky again.
Fiverr.
Likes on Instagram.
Become the mayor of JoJo's World on Foursquare.
What's Foursquare?
Don't.
We'll make our own website using Squarespace.
We used to have that.
We'll have a
Podcast.
We'll have a podcast starring you and me.
Yeah, where we kind of recap the events of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in a kind of madcap fashion.
Ooh, a lot
Explore some of the literary and pop cultural allusions, while also just getting things wrong and being silly and fun.
I like this plan.
We'll call it JoJo's World.
Yeah. All right, now hop in my time machine over here.
Okay.
We're going back to 1995.
The year
1995.
The year 1995 happened.
Yeah, the year 1995, the year of 1995. Hirohiko Araki is probably 108 at this point.
Nick, shut up.
Okay.
I want to share with you some words from the author of Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
My favorite? Well, I mean, not my favorite, but you know.
Well, it's not Hirohiko Araki.
Exactly. He's up there, though, just as a chill dude. Lol.
This is from Arakawa Hiromu and Tanaka Yoshiki, A Brilliantly Big Conversation. In conversation with Araka Hiromu, the author and illustrator of Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, nice.
Got some interview excerpts. So these first ones are all from Tanaka, the Legend of Galactic Heroes writer.
Yep.
As far as my writing goes, I kept a journal during my middle school days. It seems like my mum is still carefully holding on to it. So I feel like I want to find a way to incinerate it. Speaking seriously. Apparently I would scribble down story outlines and other things like that. According to my mother, I've been like that as long as she can remember, but it's actually something I don't remember too well. During the spring break, following my acceptance to graduate school, I wrote a short story for some reason or another, and that started it. I saw an article about a new author's prize in a literary magazine called Genagio. I don't know. I can't pronounce that.
Who knows?
And I refused to try. And the idea just suddenly came to me, so I wrote several pages and sent them in. I was sure there'd be no way I'd win, so I completely forgot about it. I was at a funeral when they contacted me about my win. The woman who ran my dorm had suddenly passed away, and they called me right in the middle of the service. So I was sitting in the corner of the room with a serious look on my face. The phone rang out. I picked it up and I hear something like, "Hello, Mr. Tanaka? You've been chosen for the new author's prize." But it wasn't the kind of atmosphere I could say I'm happy or whatever. So I said, is that so? The person on the phone then said to me, "Aren't you happy?" And even as they asked me that question, you could hear the sound of a priest praying right next to me.
So he's just in church.
In a funeral.
At a funeral, as someone's like, "Oh, the dearly departed." Yes, hello, who is this? Yes.
Hello? You've won the big prize.
And he just looks around. I see. Well, okay. Can you call me back in maybe a week and a half?
Then this next section, that was all Tanaka. The next section is an exchange between Tanaka and Arakawa.
And Arakawa is the Full Metal Alchemist lady?
That's right.
Yeah.
The prompt is, a slump has arrived. What do you do? And we start with Tanaka.
Okay.
No, I have nothing specific. When I write, I just say, I can't write and give up. And I watch all the DVDs that have been piling up and such.
What is it with these authors? What is it?
It's all writing.
But like, what is it with these authors that we're like, yeah, this guy gets it. He makes really insane content. And then whenever they're like, how do you get over, like, you know, if you're a professional, you should be writing a lot. And they're like, no, that's bullshit. Like, just fucking watch shit, man.
Just recently, I saw a film that was something like Anaconda versus King Gorilla. Sounds good.
Yes.
After all, no matter how much you turn the faucet, if the main water line is closed, nothing will come out. Arakawa responds, "It seems like it, but I came to be interested in it myself after often being asked in fan letters, 'Do you like Legend of the Galactic Heroes?' I wondered if that had something in common with the way I write stories." Tanaka replies, "Having The Legend of Galactic Heroes read by an unexpected number of people, I felt like I had written everything I could about space operas. Then at the same time I thought, I'd like to write something with sword fighting. Even so, I had no confidence in being able to write Japanese sword fighting. As far as And as far as Western stories go, we already have Kuramoto Kaoru-san's Guin Saga. Don't know what that is.
No clue.
When I thought I needed to compete in a different area, suddenly Persia was what popped into my head. It might be the effects of books and TV, but I also might have just lost my head. Even now, it's a mystery to me. Next from Arakawa. Tanaka-san's stories have developed characters. Or should I say, the people have the amazing power to move stories along. Of course, there's politics, battles, and so on, but it feels like people are moving the story along. Therefore, it wasn't about how to inflate the characters. Hello.
Oh.
Inflation, you say?
Oh, I love
Sonic
inflation.
the Hedgehog, inflation emperor. But instead, how to cut them down was important. Since there are a lot of interesting episodes, it's difficult to cut them down. The people really are active, so you even develop an attachment to the enemies.
We would never cut down Kirkis.
We would never develop an attachment to someone as disgusting as Negroponte.
We would never allow Mirai a place in our hearts.
I don't mind Mirai. He's got that cool swooshed back hair.
Oh, it's too late for you.
And the last excerpt from Tanaka. I really understand that. I also liken writing to a journey. In short, you leave Tokyo, and it's decided that the story will end by arriving in Osaka. But I think on the way, do you take the Tokaido line, or do you take the Chuo line?
Ooh.
Or do you wait for the maglev train passing through?
Ooh. Well.
Rather than deciding on the strict path, you decide based on the characters' personalities or in response to their circumstances, and you think, do they try stopping by extra stations? Or instead, do they try skipping them and passing by?
Yeah, does a guy named Fork have a literal aneurysm
And
on the
leave
spot?
the story?
Just forever?
I was a little surprised to hear your story, Arakawa-san. Up until this point, I've heard no end of people telling me your way of doing things is unusual. Ha ha ha. That's the end.
Oh, okay.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Man, what a guy. What an absolute, god tier author. You know? A guy who's like, I do things a bit weirdly. But it's not about the journey.
It's about the train ride.
It's about the maglev.
We gotta get on the maglev.
The maglev is the one that floats, right?
Yeah, it maglevs.
It levitates.
With mags.
With mags.
Yeah.
Big, long, beautiful.
Magazines.
Oh, it's flapping the
Yeah.
whole time. Yeah. I really want to, see if that train actually... So, I don't know if it would levitate the whole time, or if it would, they turn it on and then it goes
Is it a real thing they have now, or is it a coming innovation?
I thought it was a thing that got built, but I don't know if it got built.
It probably levitates when it's on.
You would think so, right?
Because it's like electromagnets or something.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, you're the electrical engineer.
Well, I don't know enough about magnets. Look, I know magnets. I don't know levitation, all right? For that, you're going to have to talk to a
And
magician.
I just know levitation, but I don't know
If
magnets.
only there was some way to combine these two forces of intelligence and knowledge.
JoJo'sWorld.net. The Maglev podcast.
We just go to Japan, we're like, that is a maglev.
We're
But
both magleved right now, actually. That's why there's such little room tone.
see, we're, right now, normally what we would be doing is we'd just be leving or magging, right?
Well, we maglev the microphone. That way if we,
If we bump it
there's
or
no
anything-
risk of bumping the stand or...
Exactly. And so that way the wire coils around the microphone
Yeah.
consistently. So you never hear a
It's
thing.
about audio fidelity.
Exactly. Which is why we have one microphone for two of us.
Yeah.
Which
The system works.
the system works perfectly. Just like democracy.
There's a post that's been making the rounds recently,
Hmm.
which has also been sent to me by at least one of my friends, which is the new Baby Shoes Never Worn.
The new baby shoes
You
never
know,
worn.
saddest short story, For Sale, Baby Shoes Never Worn, Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, yes.
The modern variant is a sales listing, full podcasting setup, hardly used. £900.
Oh, damn. Oh, £900. That's like 2,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah, but it comes with a Rodecaster Pro mixing board,
Dude, that's not even...
monitor, 2 sets of monitor headphones.
Oh.
I don't see a microphone.
Dude, so this isn't even like two... What do you call them? The two little lever things that change the volume. You know, where you slide it up when someone's like, I'm going to start playing guitar in every music movie. And then it has the guy pushing up that thing on the mixer.
The levers that make it sound
Yeah,
good.
exactly. And they're like... and everything's quiet, and then the singer starts singing, and they're like,
How is this not that?
because it's got like 6 of them.
Oh, it's more elaborate.
Yeah, you only need 2.
But it's also got buttons. We could have... when I need to shut you up...
Why does it have buttons?
I can press one of these buttons and play the world sound effect to stop time for a side note.
That makes sense. But you wouldn't do that right now when I'm talking, right? Since when did you have a button?
It didn't work. He's too powerful.
Now I'm in the world.
We've got the same stand.
It's just like
Same
the end.
mic stand.
Well, I mean, yeah, no
is, of
shit.
course,
We only have the one mic.
Maglev.
The one magleved mic stand to the magleved microphone to the magleved podcast. Yeah.
Look, maybe we should get 2 mics at some point.
Look, one day when we can afford 2 mics. It'll never happen. This is impossible.
We're going to get 2 men named Michael to hold the one microphone perfectly steadily.
We've got
The Michael phone.
Yeah, we've got the Michael phone.
Ring, Michael phone.
Is there another version of? Oh, it's literally just microphone. You'd have a guy named Mike, so you'd have a mic phone.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
And a Michael phone, but they wouldn't ring each other. That's not what a microphone does.
We should record this podcast on
Acid.
Yeah, but also
Just to see what happens.
2 cans joined by a piece of string.
Wait, is it the 2 cans go to the one microphone?
No, I mean birds.
What?
2 cans. And it's like we're speaking into its mouth, and then it goes, it's a living.
And then
we punch its belly and it opens its mouth and the podcast comes out.
Yeah, but you know what I would do? I'd be like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to say the joke up to the toucan because it doesn't understand me. So I just go into that like,
you know how when you do improv or whatever, you do banana as a phone.
Banana phone, yeah.
You could do that pretty well with the shape and contour of a toucan's beak.
But the toucan would bite you.
Hello,
right?
toucan phone. That's me cramming its jaw open.
You're literally
and holding it up to my face.
What I'm very impressed by, when you made the motion for the toucan beak
I'm doing
up,
the thing now where I'm doing physical comedy on the podcast.
So,
You've truly broken me.
So you did the toucan beak opening, but you picked up the full toucan first?
Obviously, Nick. I'm not gonna do it while it's on the table.
You could have just had like beak open, bring beak up, but you went toucan come up.
I'm doing proper space work, Nick.
Like just lifting it by its little
gently,
legs,
and then you
very gently, and then crang open the beak.
And I hold it up to my head and I take a phone call. And it says it's living.
Of course. It's like ha because it's a toucan with his beak wide open. Oh.
What are we talking about?
So there's this guy, right, named Julian.
Yeah.
And he's on
everyone
Iserlohn
loves
Fortress.
him.
Everyone loves him. I actually don't remember what happens at the start of this episode.
Yang gets a letter and is like, oh no, I have to send Julian to Fazan. He's going to hate it when I tell him.
Yeah, so basically he gets a letter from up top that's
from
like...
command.
And we cannot stress enough, very little happens in these 2 episodes.
Yeah. So look forward to more talking about toucans.
So basically, Yang gets a letter, and the letter just says, you're sending Julian to Fazan.
You talking 2 toucans to me?
And he's just like, the time's finally come.
That little boy's gonna fly.
Yep. And Green Hill is all like,
I'm also here.
You're in pain, aren't you? And he's like, I am in pain.
I'm in pain. I've got a very sore neck and shoulder.
You are literally dying right now. Like,
oh, and we're all dying, Nick.
It's true. It's true. I'm dying to get on with this podcast.
Speaking for the listeners.
Literally everyone listening to this podcast is like, it's been 20 fucking minutes. What are you doing with your
so
lives?
So little happens in these episodes.
It's actually painful how little happens. But at the same time...
Nick really enjoyed watching them.
I had a great fucking... You were there like,
in the second
happening.
episode, I was like, this can't be the whole episode. But it was.
And literally every time one of the historians come up, it says, a historian name.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah. And there's a bit before this whole thing.
So,
Truenit says, hey, we're great.
Yeah, we're arming the
Iserlohn Fortress. We've got our guy Yang. He's the best guy ever. And then we see 2 nameless politicians.
No, they're people we know.
I thought we only knew 1.
No, they're Juan Louis and the other guy's name is...
Huey.
No.
Because then you got Huey and Louis.
It's like Krasbinsky or something like that.
Krasbinsky? Consult the wiki.
Yao, wow. Joao, but with accents.
Joao. What?
It's Rebello. We've seen Rebello before.
Juan Rebello.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And Juan.
And yeah, Huang Louis, or Rui as it's written on the wiki.
Nice. So they're discussing the nature of...
They're talking about, once again, hey, do you think Yang Wenli is going to become a dictator?
And one of them is like, I don't know. And the other one's like, are you sure?
He might. Remember, Rudolf von Goldenbaum did it.
I don't remember. I sure hope there's an episode that recaps in excruciating detail everything that he ever did, ever.
Oh, I don't think there would be an episode like that in the next 5 to 10 episodes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, I think this was also a moment where they were like... oh, Yang might not become a dictator. Maybe he'll become a pirate.
But he is getting really sick of that Job Trunix.
He really is. Everyone is. We all hate him.
And yet his approval rating keeps climbing.
Oh, if only there was a way to stop the public from being such
someone
idiots.
did something.
So they're just basically saying, boy oh boy, can't wait for Yang to defect.
And the ending line of this whole exchange, this exposition, is they talk about how it's kind of the thesis of these 2 episodes that even though he's an authoritarian dictator, Reinhard is instituting, humanitarian reforms, and the alliance, which
is demonstrating
which
impure
exists
democracy
to get away from the totalitarian dictatorship of the empire, is now corrupt and dominated by selfish interests.
Yeah.
So has the alliance's reason to exist currently been superseded by the more humanitarian empire?
And they look very pensive.
And then he holds up his glass of red wine and says, "It takes more than one ingredient to make a cocktail and a dictator."
At first I thought, oh yeah, a cocktail. And you were like, it's wine.
Yeah, it was just wine.
And I just went, oh fuck. It's so dumb, but we love it. So anyway, Yang calls Julian into his office and he's all like,
he's received orders that
High command has said.
Yep, Julian is going to be assigned to Fazan.
Not Fazan.
And he's like, please countermand these orders, Admiral Yang.
And Yang's like, Julian, you're a man now.
Yep. When you were a civil servant, I could appoint you. But now you wanted to be a soldier, boy. You did this.
You wanted to be a soldier, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your duty is to obey orders from the National Defense Council and Joint Operations HQ. So you're going to have to follow these orders, sorry. And he's like, ugh. And then Yang meets him in the park and is like, let me tell you about society, Julian. And then he lectures him so long that the sun goes down.
Yeah, literally we're watching it. And I think it's like
the light transitions to the golden hour.
It's like a 7-minute monologue from Yang that's like, what is it to be part of a society? Maybe
imagine
Fazan.
Society A, B, and C.
And let's not give them names, but what if Society A was a dictatorship and Society B was a democracy? Society C.
And Society C was a sort of a mercantile state that was weaker than the 2 of them individually, but benefited from their conflict.
Yeah, so I think the whole point of this conversation is Yang basically goes, even though the 2 of these guys are fighting, it's not necessarily within, Empire C's best interest to side with the stronger one because they'll lose their independence.
Society C, you mean?
Yeah. Not Fazan. That would be... Don't put words
It's recapping things we already know, that to date, society... Fazan has attempted to prolong the conflict so that it could benefit, but now that it's seeing the rising fortunes of the new Reich, wants to side with it to crush the alliance.
Yep. And Yang finds it distasteful, but Julian goes, what if there's another motivating factor behind Empire C?
What if Fazan cares about...
religion?
Well, he says spiritual. If it's a spiritual motivation, i.e. ideology or religion. And Yang's like, I never thought about that. Perhaps it's the earth gods. He doesn't go that far, but more or less.
He more or less perfectly deduces, well, if there was some kind of...
spiritual motivation.
Then that makes perfect sense for why Fazan would be doing this thing. Yeah. They could totally lose independence if it meant they get their, their just rewards.
Their spiritual outcome.
But that might be too much of a leap.
And the other concrete element of this conversation they have is that Yang is, he's kind of making the best of a bad situation, but he thinks it might be good to have Julian in Fazan to kind of feel out the whole situation that he's deduced is likely to happen with Lowe and Graham attacking via the Fazan corridor because they've negotiated free passage, as we know they have.
Yeah. And, of course, Yang has completely deduced, well, they're going to attack Iserlohn, right? But I can't be there, because I'm in Iserlohn. Sorry, they're going to go through Fazan.
Yeah, but I'm in Iserlohn.
Yeah,
they'll still besiege that with a token fleet, but they might send their main force through the Fazan space.
Exactly. Which they will.
Yeah.
Because he's perfectly deduced
Because they will.
Yeah. As we know.
Because then they have it.
Yeah. On the grass.
Yeah. All the things that we say.
Now we know. So that goes on, I think, for like 7 minutes of this episode.
Literally until the sun goes down.
Which, of course, is a fake sun because Iserlohn Fortress has no sun.
That we know of.
Ooh. Maybe the real sun all along was Julian. Yeah.
Yang Wenli's son.
Well, not his real
Figuratively.
son. Yeah, yeah.
But also, isn't he his real son? He's raised him for the last 4 years. Or rather, Julian has raised Yang for the last 4 years.
You know how that thing before we were looking at had the buttons for a soundboard?
Yeah.
If we had one of those buttons, we could just implant the song from the end credits of Legend of Galactic Heroes when we're like, but isn't he really...
When we're being wistful.
Yeah, when it's like, but isn't he really his son? And then just go with that for like a minute.
So what you're saying is I should buy the baby podcaster setup never used.
Well, it might get used then at least, but yikes. Oh, God, it's actually painful to think about.
What is?
Like, podcaster setup barely used, £900.
You see a lot of... I think you encounter this in all hobbies, but there were, I see it in podcasting hobbyist circles where people are like, so I've bought my $900, my £900 podcaster setup. What should I make my show about?
Oh, no.
Or does anyone want to co-host a show with me?
Yeah. I know that in a bunch of...
I mean, we're very much at the hobbyist level, but I think we took the more sensible approach of just start doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pretty much any time you need to learn a thing or get better at something, we've just gone full meta now. If you're in a hobby, right, and it doesn't matter what the hobby is, it doesn't actually matter what you do to do the thing, right? Until you become at a point you're like, I could become more effective.
Basic level of proficiency.
Yeah, then it's like, okay, now I should probably learn how to be more effective at my craft, right?
The craft of podcasting.
But
the art and craft.
Yeah, but if you're doing a hobby, you're like, I don't care, I just want to do the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, just do the thing then.
Yeah, get a $45 blue snowball and just have a friend, make him watch 150 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with you.
Which I already was like, I'd watch that show. Yeah, sure. So, step one, have a friend, which I don't know how many people in this world have friends. But yeah.
But if one person has a friend...
Which you don't.
But if one person has a friend...
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Then a second person also has a friend.
Oh, that's
deep.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. This is where we need the button. This is where we need the button.
Wow.
Anyway, so Yang is then...
What would be our top soundbite things?
Well, obviously the world.
The world.
Because you would absolutely put that there.
Dio.
Jojo. There's that. An air horn.
Wait, let me see how many buttons are on this thing.
Wait, what do you mean this thing?
On the baby podcaster setup, never used.
Oh, I think there was 8. Is there a yellow one? Sorry.
Yeah, 8.
A gold one. Because the gold one's the world. Would we have an aura button?
What
do you mean?
I mean, it would be handy for when that happens in JoJo's, I guess. We can just press the button.
Yeah. But then we don't get to say it, which is a criminal shame, really.
Look, I think we need something from Utena in there.
Ammonites?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have ammonite for sure.
Something about...
The egg?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Something about Jury laying the egg. It feels good.
Just that.
Yeah.
We'd have to have one from... what was the other thing that we watched? There was Barkano, but there was something else.
Castlevania.
Yeah, we'd need something from Castlevania.
Would we, though?
Well, like, Cypher says some pretty cutting lines.
Get a Joseph Joestar, oh my god, in there.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, obviously, you'd have to have that in there.
Yeah.
There'll be no way you're not putting that in there.
And something... Oh, we obviously needed, like, a small suite of things that are completely irrelevant. That just make their way into our vocabulary.
Yeah, like Triples is best.
Triples is best.
You can't skip lunch, you just can't. Yeah. What's the other one that you always quote every time? It's from the show, like Mr. Show or whatever it is, with the bald guy from Arrested Development.
Bob and David.
Yeah.
Oh, what is...
There could be so many possible things here. So much of this episode is going to get cut.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to think about what this could be.
Remember, just do the hobby and then, you'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for many years and we're still shit at it.
Oh, I think we've improved.
But we're good. We're good at it now.
We've improved or arguably gotten worse.
Yeah, exactly. We've overall probably gotten better, but in individual sections, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Which is where the comedy lies, We need the, Nick, it's just not worth explaining these things to you.
That's an in-joke.
Oh, okay, alright. We need, me going, what? Just as a soundbite so I can stop saying it. Or say it more. So Yang's sitting down.
Yeah, he's having dinner in the mess hall with Kazalnu, Frederica, and,
That guy with the
Shenkop
daughter.
is also in the room, but he's got his back to them. So until he chimes in, it's like, is he in this conversation?
But he will be. Don't you worry.
And they're just talking about Julian going to Fazan. And how Yang's life is going to fall apart because he can't take care of himself.
Yeah, Yang literally, before Julian left the office, he's like, hey, just drink less.
Yeah.
You drink so much now. And Yang's like, I don't drink that much. What are you talking about? Later, it will be reiterated. Yang drinks a lot.
They have to appoint someone to go with Julian, so they send Maschengo, the guy who went with Frederica to Heinesen to get Yang out of the inquiry and took on like 5 guys barehanded in a parking lot.
Absolute fucking Chad.
Yep, so we know Julian's in safe hands until he inevitably dies.
Yep. And then Shenkop is all like, hey, Yang's life's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, yeah, you're not wrong, hey. Julian, he's the glue that keeps Yang from just dying.
Merkatz is also leaving to go be on the Empire in Exile Supreme Council.
With the young baby Kaiser.
Yep, the baby Kaiser. Kaiser babies.
He's like 5 years old or something?
7, I think.
7 years old.
And so strong and so violent.
So violent. Oh.
Poplin and the other pilots and Dusty talk about, what kind of big party to throw Julian for leaving, and they're all basically shouting down Poplin, being like, hey, we should get some hookers.
Yeah, Poplin's way too keen. And Annenberg's all like, no, we need a dignified exit.
Yeah.
We need something that's gonna make him feel, like, good about his life.
Yeah.
And Poplin's like hookers! He's like, no, not like hookers. And then we get
Julian and Yang, so there's this conversation, I'm going to quote it.
Okay. It's the greatest conversation, by the way.
Julian says, Admiral, during the 4 years since my arrival, your consumption of alcohol has increased dramatically.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, its proportion of household expenses has nearly doubled. He says it couldn't have doubled, and Julian presses a button on the desktop computer.
And a big graph shows up
yeah.
where it's like, over these 4 years, you can see the lines get bigger.
And so he asks him again to cut down, and Yang says, while holding a drink in his hand, alcohol is humanity's friend. Can I abandon a friend?
I fucking love it so much.
It's always alcohol's real wish to be drunk. Humans were drinking alcohol 5,000 years ago, and they're still drinking it now.
And they'll drink it in 5,000 years from now, even though humanity won't last that long.
And Julian says, I'm not worried about 5,000 years from now. I'm worried about next month. And also about your wake-up time. Are you going to be able to get up at 7 a.m. without me waking you up every morning? Yang Wenli is a child.
Yang is the most relatable human being I've ever fucking seen in fiction.
He wants to drink his friend.
Yep.
And he wants to sleep in.
You're damn right.
And he doesn't want to clean.
Yeah. It's me. Liam, it's just me.
And I'm Julian.
Oh. Literally, we get flashbacks of, like, when Julian arrived at Yang's house.
Yang's
was
in his pajamas.
He comes out.
Which we've seen before.
Yeah, the house literally is, like, a complete... I don't know. It looks like a hurricane.
There's, like, dirty dishes everywhere and
books everywhere and just, like, assorted clothing everywhere. Spills everywhere.
Julian's got to clean it up.
So he does. And then the Admiral... Kazalnu is looking inside the house on a TV screen. It's like, wow, this must be the first time you've ever cleaned your house.
Pretty much.
And then it's like, Yang is like, well, look, I'll be fine on my own. I used to wake up punctually every day before you. He did not.
And then the rest of the episode is Julian walking around Iserlohn and saying goodbye to all the characters we know.
Yep.
He says goodbye to Kazalnu, who says, don't be playing the field. You'll make Charlotte, my 8-year-old daughter who you were betrothed to, cry. Strange.
What a fucked up world. Julian's like, in true Japanese fashion.
Yep. Poplin's like, hey, you should have stayed around here for one more year. I could show you all kinds of sexy things.
And Julian's like,
what? Yeah, rather than Spartanian piloting, I would have taught you more fun things. When I was 17, I conquered my first enemy plane and my first woman. Since then, I've been racking up victories, so now both are 3-digit numbers.
you killed a woman?
You conquered a woman and you like, what, enslaved her?
No, as in, I you know what? You're too young for these things.
And Julian says, amazing.
Imagine if someone like that you knew. Imagine if I came up to you and was like, Liam, when I was your age, I conquered my first plane and my first woman, and then
here they are now.
It's like, hey, this is my plane. I call them Spitfire, and this is my woman.
Don't.
Don't. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Then Konev, the other pilot, whose name we've only just learned because we kept forgetting, walks up and he's like, hey, I've got a cousin on Fazan. Well, I've never met them. Anyway.
And that's that. That's the end of that thread.
Pretty much.
Will we meet them?
Who knows?
Impossible to say. We've never met them.
Then he walks into a room, and we thought it was just a bunch of strangers, but turns out it's the Rosenritter clubhouse.
They throw darts to, like, at
the
door.
dartboard on the door.
Yep. And Julian narrowly dodges a dart. And one of these guys who's, like, he looked super cool.
Yeah.
Like, he's got, like, a mullet.
He's blonde.
And
he's
he's
got a really sharp face.
And he's all like, good dodge.
Yeah. And they give him an honorary Rosenritter patch.
And Julian's all like, what? But I didn't defect from the Empire. And they're like,
you're one of us.
And he's like, you're practically a defector.
Then he walks over to his locker and looks at his practice combat knife and has flashbacks to combat training with Shenkop.
Oh my god. And then Shenkop shows up and he's all like, isn't this knife for training?
Look at this insane knife.
It's about the size of, I want to say...
It's like the size of a human forearm.
Oh, bigger than that. It's like...
Like the blade is the size of a forearm.
Yeah, okay.
It's got, like, half its length is... serrated.
Big edge.
And it's just fucking huge.
It would be closer to a machete than a knife.
Yeah. And then Shenkop's like, oh, don't take that practice knife.
That's a piece of shit.
Take my real knife.
And Julian's all like, thanks, Shenkop.
And he says, I'm not loaning this to you. Sorry, I'm not giving this to you. I'm just loaning it to you until you come back. And so we know like, Shenkop's going to die.
Of course.
Yep.
By narrative tropes, we know he must be killed.
Yep. Then he bumps into Bagdashu in the corridor, the guy who defected from the coup d'etat forces, and they're basically like, we still don't like each other, but you need to look after Yang while I'm away.
And he's all like, maybe I'll finally get away with killing him for the Empire, huh? And Julian is like, I'm not laughing.
And he gives him some advice on information gathering, which is to basically like interrogate the source of fresh intelligence you receive, because it's probably to someone's benefit to giving it to you.
Yeah. And Julian's like, what? This is good knowledge to have. And then he nods and goes,
Yep.
And then he walks away.
Some silent goodbyes to some minor characters, like the big fat guy.
Who was the big fat guy?
He's just a guy. He's in Yang's command staff.
Okay.
He's been in many scenes.
I'm sure, yeah, I know he's been in many scenes, but who is he?
He's just a minor character.
Okay.
Dusty's in this little cubicle. Dusty's sad office cubicle.
This just awful
And he gives Yang a video game... Sorry, he gives Julian a video game club key.
It's rusty, it's
for
green.
Exploring the Spencer Mansion.
It's oxidizing to shit.
And he says, it's my good luck charm. You see, when I was in the academy, I snuck out one night, and an upperclassman named Yang Wen Li caught me on my way back in, but didn't turn me in.
What does that have to do with the key?
End of scene.
I don't understand.
He goes and sees Mirai, who is like, I'm Mirai, the serious one. I thought it was important to provide Yang a devil's advocate voice in tactical situations. Consider that in your journey, Julian.
So he does.
Yep, that's the Mirai scene. He's the only guy with an office.
Yeah, I don't know why he's so serious compared to everyone. Well, I mean, I know why he's so serious, because he's the serious guy.
Because he's Mirai.
Yeah, he's the one that's getting stuff done around here.
Yeah.
But then, you know, Julian's all like, well, it's time I leave. So he does.
So he does.
They have a big ceremony.
People give them bouquets. Yang also gives him a Fazan credit card with 500,000 Fazan bucks on it.
Oh my god, that's so much money!
I assume.
You could buy a house with that!
I assume.
And Yang's all like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all good.
You should never be at a loss as to how to spend money because it's money that gives you freedom.
Ah.
Why, you could spend money on alcohol.
Hey!
What's the illegal drinking age in Fazan, do you think?
8?
Yeah, Fazan has real libertarian vibes to me.
You like walk outside and if you're not already drinking, they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
They'll sell you one.
Are you not a patriot? Take this fucking wine.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that'll be 500 Fazan bucks.
And you're like, oh, that's so little. Oh. Like, did you enjoy that? It's like, absolutely. It's like, great. Have another. That's 500 more Fazan bucks.
And also the cleaning fee on these glasses is 250 Klazan bucks.
Yeah, and I'm not paying that myself, right? You're paying that because you're the one that drank out of the glass.
Yeah.
You know? That's how they get you.
What, do you think I'm gonna fucking pay to repair these $10,000 Fazan dollar pants you just ripped when you bumped into me?
Oh, did you see this insane post?
Classic
right?
Japanese scam.
No, it's an insane post.
Whatever.
On
It's
the
not
cleaning
listening
thing. No. There's someone in this world, I don't know who they are, that instead of washing dishes...
Another thing for the soundboard, $10,000 suit, come on.
Come on, yep, absolutely. There's someone in this world who refuses to wash dishes and instead throws them out and buys new dishes.
Oh, like Jack Reacher. How he just goes to the shops and uses cash to buy a new like white t-shirt in every town he rolls into.
Ah, I see. Yeah, probably like that, yeah. But like, yeah, he could actually just go to the laundromat, couldn't he? But he couldn't because he's so covered in patriotism.
So you were saying...
So yeah, there's some lady who, for some reason, they don't wash any dishes. They just throw them away.
That's literally...
insane.
Yes, but it's literally something that I saw the Jim Henson Three Bears do in Sesame Street as a kid.
3 bears? Oh, okay, yeah.
As a lesson to teach kids that you can wash the dishes.
Yeah. So...
They're like, wow, great dinner, human Sesame Street character. We'll throw away the dishes for you now.
But you don't have to throw them away.
What? You can wash them?
You can wash anything.
That's the sketch.
Wash away the blood from your hands. And then they wash the blood off their hands.
Yeah.
They're bears. Yeah.
Does she use paper plates, this human person?
No.
Or is she a bear?
No, it's like fine china.
Fine china.
And
fine ivory china?
Fine ivory items. So when, like, interrogated upon this, because obviously their friend was like, wait, you fucking what? Apparently their dad and their brother or something keep buying them more plates because they're like, you can't just not have plates to eat off. So she was like, yeah, I just keep coming into plates.
Coming in, ugh.
And it's like, no, they keep buying you plates. That's insane.
This is like the woman who kept buying rescue cats because coyotes kept eating them. And it's like, it sounds like you're just feeding the coyotes.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Except now, the rubbish bin is the coyote?
Yeah, the rubbish bin is the coyote.
Yeah, now this is a poignant metaphor.
Yang and Julian wish each other well, and, you know, once again, Julian asks him to drink less and eat more vegetables.
I think the last scene is...
the ceremony where they're sending everyone away.
Yep, and then Yang is looking out the window at the ship as it's leaving.
And he goes to pour himself some brandy or whatever.
But he hesitates.
And he doesn't.
He doesn't do it. And he's like, I guess he left his mark on me after all.
Oh my god. I guess they'll never see each other again.
And Greenhill is like, this is problematic if he goes full cold turkey. His body's going to shut down.
Okay, second episode.
Nothing happens.
Julian is on the space plane heading to Heinessen. He puts an anime floppy disk into the anime Famicom.
And he's like, if there's one thing I've always wanted to do, it's that Yang knew so much about.
Quote.
Oh, okay, yeah, do it.
It's been 4 years since I was 12 years old, and I became Admiral Yang's dependent under the War Orphans Act. Now, when it's too late, I realise I don't know how to spend my time.
Oh.
But I'm going to do something I've been meaning to do. Admiral Yang really wanted to be a historian. Other people call him the magician or miracle worker. I think that's just modesty. I think I might have missed something in my photos there.
Yeah.
Before I go to Fazan and come into contact with another set of values like the Admiral told me to do, I think I'll try looking back anew at the history of humanity until now. And he spends the episode watching The Inviting History, Advancing in the Galaxy, brackets, the Modern History documentary.
After about 5 minutes that this documentary begins playing, Liam went, this can't be the whole episode.
But it was.
5 minutes after that, Liam went, this can't be the whole episode. At the end of the episode, Liam went, that can't be the full episode.
He's watching it on a
mouse drive put on record? A sound drive
5
put on record? Drive A, not volume label?
56 million megabit instruction get computer.
Jesus, that's like that's like 566,000 petabytes. What's above peta? No clue.
Don't know. You're the computer guy. All contained on a simple floppy disk.
The future really is a magical place.
We should bring back floppy disks.
I don't know. They were kind of well, I say lame. They were rad, but
The Inviting History documentary is actually a framing device to retell Volume 1 Prologue, a brief history of the galaxy, as told at the start of the books of this
I see.
story.
So the books, we already knew all of this, but in the show, we didn't have this context.
I mean, we had a broad understanding of pretty much everything that is explained.
Yeah, no. But I mean, like, when we started watching the show, they were, like, in media res, kinda. But in the books, they start off with, in the future...
In the future, Rudolf von Goldenbaum went full Hitler.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. In the books, nothing is mentioned about Julian's activities while he was en route to Heinessen.
So this is a nice little thing to have him do.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I fucking love this episode. I'm just
why
saying...
don't you take the lead then?
Alright. So basically, the whole thing that Julian watches is just recapping the history from... what is it? Like, basically, space era year 1.
Starting in 2801 AD in our calendar.
Yep. And that's space year 0 or space year 1 or whatever. When they first take to the stars.
Well,
it's a golden age of humanity.
It's when they establish the United Stars galaxy on planet Theoria.
And they're like, let's expand even more.
Now, of course, I've learnt a bit about Warhammer since we've started doing this show.
No.
And I know about the Space Elves Eldar race.
Yep.
And about how they went full hedonism and summoned a space god that destroyed them all.
Yep.
And that's basically what humans are doing at the start of this, right?
No, that comes later.
No.
Yeah, no, this is, we're gonna expand into far reaches of space. Golden Age. Then it falls into debauchery.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you take my point.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this, yeah. They're getting too big for their own shoes. To the point that everyone's like...
You're going to need bigger shoes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, those shoes have to be filled with the heaving bosom of strippers.
Yeah, we get a lot of still images of, like...
just naked women.
Hideous naked women.
It's really odd. It's very odd. But basically, in the future, they expand into space.
There's a bunch of pirates.
There's a bunch of space pirates. They're not really a massive issue, but they are an issue.
And the cost of...
expanding
reliably securing borders for further expansion meant there was no political will for further expansion, so everything started to stagnate.
Yeah. Which then means that everyone's like, well, there's no fun, there's no good, we need alcohol and
There was
debauchery.
an initial crusade to wipe out the space pirates led by Admiral Michel Couffrin and Christopher Wood.
Love Christopher Wood.
We love Christopher Wood.
He's my favourite actor in Aliens.
But... you know, they got some big victories, but a huge space force remained, so...
Yep. As this documentary is playing out, they keep having the two... like, there's two historians that keep coming up.
There is. D. Sinclair, Modern History, and E.J. Mackenzie, Ideological History.
So, whenever they show up on screen, for some reason, every time they show up on screen, right? Not just the first couple times, not like once and then later on. Every single time they show up on screen... it comes up with, like, a red line, and then their names above that red line with a historian, comma, their name.
Yep.
And every time I saw it, I was like, ooh, historian. And then I realized...
he said it every time.
And I realized, wait, there are no other historians coming up. It's just those two every time. Why do they keep bringing up their names?
As society lost its ability to act, social life and culture trod the road to decadence. People lost sight of their fundamental values. Regardless of age or gender, those addicted to drugs, alcohol, sexual promiscuity, and mysticism multiplied. Like I said, they're going full Dark
Yeah.
Elder.
They're going full Dark Elder. I'm being like, you know what? If we're going to have
Let's do
fun...
some dark sex magic.
Yep, they're going all out on the Mad Max future timeline.
Yeah, and we see like car accidents and public murders, and
It's a bad
they're
time.
birthing Slanesh.
Yep. But then,
There was a man,
Mr. Rudolph, the Red Tide Rain Man.
Ranger.
The Red Tide Ranger.
Red Tide Rain Man.
Oh wait, no, that's the historian. Sorry, that's the second historian.
Religion is declining because there was the... Okay, I've got the quote here.
Is it something like people just don't care? And
One
so-
of the reasons for these problems was that the influence of religion fell dramatically after the unification of Earth. Even during the apocalyptic time of the 13-Day War and subsequent 90-year war, no savior appeared.
Oh,
I feel like they could have split the difference in those two wars.
nah, no way. Oh, ridiculous.
No god descended to Earth. All realized that no divine being would save them. So stagnation. And then there was a man.
His name, Rudolph. That's his last name. His first name?
No, his first name's Rudolph.
Wait, what's his
Because he's
Oh,
Rudolph
Rudolph Golden...
von
yeah.
Goldenbaum.
Rudolph von Goldenbaum rises to power.
Yeah, 1933.
So basically what happens is it's totally not at all like, say, Adolf Hitler. There's no parallels whatsoever to a man who gains democratic power and then starts really squeezing the power because he's given too much control over both.
Okay, quick hits. He
Yes.
goes to war and like is both ruthless but efficient
Yep.
at fighting space pirates.
Yeah.
So he gets criticism but also praise.
Yeah, most people are like, actually, it's for the good of our nation and whatever.
After the war, he enters politics and takes like a popular strongman approach.
Yep.
And over the years builds a base of support for that. Then eventually
Becomes
is
both the prime minister and also...
the president.
And because normally either of these two positions would be relatively...
Separation of powers.
Yeah, it'd be relatively weak on their own. But together, unlimited power.
Yeah, so he just goes full Hitler.
Yep. He creates the garb that we're used to now.
Yep.
Because before this, he's like all in white and he's wearing like,
He's just wearing the uniform.
yeah, he's wearing uniform, but it's like white, noble, very pristine. And then as soon as he becomes...
I think that was I think you are referring to a shot of a post-ascension portrait of him.
No, this is pre, because he's on the ship in this.
Look at the throne he's sitting on, Nick.
That's a normal everyday throne. You can't tell me that's just not a happy
And that's
guy.
also a painting.
Yeah, it's a happy throne. But no, he's on this ship.
Okay, you are right. He is in a white admiral's thing on his ship.
Yeah, but I think then when he becomes Lord Hitler Man,
Yep. He's appointed to the post of Lord Hitler.
Yep, he is appointed Lord Hitler, and he basically dons the new garb and says, yes, I am the one basically chosen by God to lead us.
Yep, he's doing big Nuremberg rallies. No freedom of speech. President for life. Founding of the Galactic Empire.
Yep, and as soon as the Empire becomes
And
founded...
establishes the Imperial calendar. Imperial Year 1.
Yep.
Does a Hitler salute or a salute that some people have... a raised right arm motion that some people have compared to a Nazi salute.
You wouldn't dare. So, he's gone full Hitler, and everyone's really happy, as they were back in the day, initially, when Hitler rose to power.
Watch yourself.
Because they don't know the pure evil bullshit that's about to come when he goes full Hitler, and they go, oh, no, take it back. Take it back.
Unhealthy lifestyles and pleasures were prohibited by vigorous judicial activity. Crime and juvenile delinquency decreased radically.
There was something that said, like, 3 billion people were killed.
Well, in Imperial Year 9, the infamous inferior genes exclusion law was announced. And we've heard about this before from Oberstein.
We have indeed.
And basically he goes full eugenics.
Yep. Anyone that's handicapped, too weak to help, or, in any other way can't, be strong for the Empire.
Is either chemically sterilized or outright killed.
And that's obviously a bit fucked up.
Yep. Representing that popular opinion that this has gone too far, the remaining Republican politicians of Parliament criticised the Empire, and so Rudolph instantly dissolved the Parliament. That's very...
I brought it up with you when we were watching it. It's like, I don't like what these guys are saying about me. Well, I'll remove them. Easy peasy.
That's very... Darth Vader tells Princess Leia that the Senate has just been dissolved.
It's like,
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Oh.
Fear of this battle station.
Ooh.
Toucan, I think that is.
Yeah. So, basically he creates a different kind of parliament. I can't remember what it's
He
called.
established a social discipline support office in the Department of the Interior, which set out to prosecute political criminals. Rudolph's confidant, Secretary of the Interior Ernst Fallstrong, held that position concurrently and carried out arrests, confinements, imprisonment, and punishment. Then he was killed in a car bombing, and 20,000 people were executed as collaborators.
20,000?
Yep.
That's insane.
People are lobotomized and turned into the living dead.
Because of,
Again, Warhammer.
Yeah, basically, I think you may have skipped
4 billion
on this.
people.
Yeah. I think you skipped this because, you had to step out for a second. But basically,
Yeah, it started raining on my laundry.
They basically just do a bunch of experimentation on people because they can do whatever they need. They're trying to build up their military strength. And part of that is drugs, mass amounts of eugenics, and crushing their enemies.
Yep.
So they just do that. And then once they have no more enemies...
So 4 billion people killed, but the total population of the empire was 300 billion, so that's about 1.3%.
Yeah.
So even though there's plenty of people who are outraged by that, they are cowed into fear at the idea of just being oppressed and killed. He creates the aristocratic class that we are familiar with in the empire, and D. Sinclair points out that all of the people Rudolph had chosen as nobles were white.
He's a historian.
And all with Germanic names, but no one was willing to point out this personal failing. People of, diverse people were probably disproportionately subject to the pogroms and reprisals of the empire, which accounts for the, overwhelmingly white Germanic nature of the empire compared to the comparatively cosmopolitan alliance.
Which, it's not like this is anything like what, Hitler was doing. There's no parallels whatsoever in...
No, there is.
There's no way there's any parallels here.
I know what you're doing,
But fuck.
we've advanced beyond the age of ironic denial.
Have we?
We're calling a Hitler in 2025.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, fuck Nazi punks.
Yeah, punch them, shoot them, step on their neck.
I don't know what else you can do to a Nazi punk.
Anything you want.
Can I piss on them?
I mean, I guess.
You're not my dad. I'm going to go piss on a Nazi. So, basically... He eventually dies.
Imperial year 42, 83 years old.
Rudolph, as we know him.
He only had daughters with Empress Elizabeth.
Ooh, that is awkward. But surely he would have had a son somewhere.
His favourite mistress, Magdalena, is alleged to have given him a son, quote, born a congenital idiot.
The irony that his son must be killed because of his own act.
There was no record in the official Imperial archives about this fact. Considering the fact that not just Magdalena, but even the doctors and nurse connected with the birth were all sentenced to death afterwards, pretty much confirms that this rumour must be true.
Yikes. Big oof.
This was a crushing blow to Rudolph, who proclaims the inferior genes exclusion law.
How ironic.
After he died, Sigismund I, the son of his eldest daughter, became the second emperor, and he's kind of a non-entity.
Yeah, he just
in
goes
the
and...
documentary.
He just does a bunch of war fighting.
A succession of democratic rebellions broke out, but there was a big old noble army which did a lot of crushing. 500 million people executed for participating in uprisings, more than 10 billion of their families and associates deprived of their citizenship and reduced to serfdom. In Imperial year 164, so it's 164 years after...
Post-Rudolph.
No, it's about 120 years post-Rudolph. Because he died in Imperial year 43.
Oh, okay. I think I'm with you, but the timelines still don't add up to me. So it's space age 143.
No, it's Imperial year 164.
It's Imperial year 164.
Yeah.
But it's space year what?
I don't know, like 164 plus...
Like 400? I don't know.
Yeah.
Some amount. But it's 43 years after Rudolph.
No, it's about 120 years after Rudolph.
About 120 years after Rudolph, we've now got young guy.
Al Heinessen.
Al Heinessen?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
He's an indentured worker on some shit planet in the Altair system.
Altair.
Assassin's Creed.
Shing.
The Templars, the Assassins, the Earth Cult.
The aliens. How funny would it be if the whole time our boy Al Heinessen here.
Alan Heinessen.
Alan Heinessen.
I'm Alan Heinessen.
I'm the fucking leader of the Earth Cult.
Oh, I was doing Alan Partridge.
Oh. I can't do an Alan
No,
Partridge.
neither can I.
Yeah, he's a hard one to do. Sure. Yeah, what if he turns out to be somehow alive?
He's dead.
Oh, he's so dead. Oh, wait, no. Canonically, he is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, never mind.
Or so the documentary would have us believe.
Oh, but what if he is alive?
So Arl Heinessen was,
He's just a young up-and-getter.
well, he's an indentured worker because he was a member of a rebel's family.
Oh, he was disenfranchised
Yeah,
by the
and
by the
reduced to
Empire.
serfdom.
Terrible.
He saw children playing with ice boats on the water of the planet and had an idea.
What if we build a spaceship out of ice?
Yeah, there was an inexhaustible supply of natural dry ice on the planet to make material to build a spaceship. So they drilled out 122 kilometers of an ice chunk and used those caverns to put in engines and people to create the starship Ion Fazakath and crewed it with 4,000 men and women.
Ion Fazakath.
Phasekath?
Phasekath? Yeah, Phasekath makes sense.
So I listened to the podcast Bunta Vista.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they used to have a segment called the Shipping Report,
Okay.
where they would just recount the week's shipping news.
Okay.
And you would often hear the names of freighter ships as a result.
Oh, like, the humble bastion or the
Pillar of Order.
yeah, the Jeremiah.
No, and they often have very strange names. Like the best one that they always refer back to was Ionic Hawk.
Ionic Hawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what Ion Phasekath reminds me of.
I mean, it's got Ionic Hawk energy,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Ion Phasekath.
Millennium Falcon.
It all comes back to Star Wars.
Yep.
It all comes back to Star Wars. So they basically...
So they built this ship out of ice.
Yeah, they build this big ship
They
in
built
the ice.
80 ships out of ice.
And at the end of it, they shoot them off this big asteroid to go find somewhere better to live.
Unexplored space.
And they head on out, and it takes 50 years.
Yep.
But you'll never believe what they find.
Well, there's all these space zones where navigation was impossible, but eventually they find the Iserlohn corridor.
Oh my god.
And they get through it, but they lose Heinessen in an accident.
No.
So his best friend, Nguyen Kim Hoa, succeeded him, but grows blind with age by the time they find a stable, habitable planet, which we would come to know as Heinessen, I guess.
Oh my god, Heinessen.
On year 527 of the revived space year calendar,
Ah, there you go.
they founded the Free Planets Alliance.
There were a total of 500,000 people?
160,000.
160,000 people that now live on Heinessen.
Yeah, they called their journey the 10,000 light year march.
Even though it only took them 50 years.
Yeah, but they travelled.
10,000 light years.
Or near enough, I suppose.
I guess warp drives must have
Space
existed.
technology.
Yeah.
We know that they can travel through space at unprecedented speeds because
That's true.
people get around.
That's true. People just got around.
Yeah.
They were fighting wars.
They go through the warp,
Ah. And that's why the
or
corruption...
they go through hyperspace, or they use whatever they do in Star Trek.
warp drives?
Yeah.
Yeah. They use warp engines.
They went through the Stargate.
Yep.
Slip space rupture detected. That's Halo.
Yep. What's the thing from... I'm trying to think of any other...
Doctor Who.
Yeah, what is the thing from Doctor
Time
Who?
travel.
Oh, yeah. British politeness.
Yeah.
Um...
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, what is that one
I don't
called?
know, I've never watched it.
Is it called, hey, we're going to go Galactica?
Red Dwarf.
What is Red Dwarf? Don't they just use hyperdrive?
In Red Dwarf, they just drove mundane style outside of the galaxy for like 1,000,000 years.
Oh, okay. But he doesn't age. The main guy.
Because he was in stasis that whole time. But now he's 1,000,000 years away from
Yeah.
anyone else.
Do they ever go back home?
The whole show's about trying to get back home.
Yeah, but they never. Do they ever reach home?
No,
or-
because how could you possibly get back that far back home?
Yeah, true. Yeah, there you go. Sucks to be him.
Yep,
But he did do a good job of hosting robot wars.
he did.
Yeah,
Activate.
and they fight. That's it.
Rudolph's a fascist. Heinessen's
You got this. You got this.
Heinessen
Yep.
ice Thors. They'll fight each other next time on Robot Wars.
Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Heinessen's Ice Thors.
Yeah, because the ship's made of ice.
Yeah, I know, but it's a good one. Damn.
I threaded the needle, Nick.
Damn.
It only took me 5 minutes of silent audio that I can't.
And I was patiently sitting here going, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Over the next century, the Alliance established itself, built some buildings, and then in Space Era 640 and Imperial Year 331, the two polities encounter each other. There's war. Frederick III assigns Grand Duke Herbert to lead the Imperial fleet, but he is owned.
He is absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and so a heap more people flee the Empire to the Alliance.
And now the diversity and culture of the Free People's Alliance,
Planets Alliance.
Free Planets Alliance, also now includes a whole lot of criminals, disenfranchised people,
Disenfranchised nobles.
and a whole bunch of other people that just decided, well, fuck the Empire.
Yep. And we established the current space map, which is the two nations on either side of the Iserlohn and Fazan corridors, and also Fazan is there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
A single planet officially under the Empire's dominion.
Yep. It's run by this random guy.
Leopold Lape.
But he's not Adrian Rubinsky, so I don't care about
He's
him.
the first Dominion load, it says here, but I'm sure it means lord.
Load? The first Dominion load.
And they are what? Like, they're Istanbul.
Yeah, they're just like, we just want the money, give us some money.
Yep.
Their population increases exponentially. Sorry, increase exponentially, because there's a bunch of graphs that are flying by, and instead of saying increase, it just says increase.
Yeah, in this day and age, you need to try and use AI to generate it to get those hilarious typos.
Exactly.
Before, you just had inaccurate translations.
You just had a bit of a mismatch between what a word actually is and what it is.
And then they started to arrive at Heinessen. So Julian stops watching his documentary and the episode ends.
And just like Julian, we've reached current day.
Hooray! Nick, highlights and lowlights.
My highlight was the entirety of the second episode.
That was my lowlight.
I don't care what you say, it was amazing. Just like a historian, this guy. So it turns out that this one noteless feature was very important in the future. And you're like, this is exactly how a documentary would go down. It was just so good. So charming.
It's a fine episode to watch, but it's very hard to talk
added
about
absolutely
it in the podcast.
nothing. No. It's like when you watch it, you're like, this adds nothing. But also, fun time.
Well,
Your highlight?
my highlight, I liked it when the Rosenritter gave him the honorary patch.
Nice.
Because we like the Rosenritter.
We do love the Rosenritter.
And they've got their little clubhouse where they play darts.
And they throw darts at people that are about to come in that they don't like. Maybe he's just waiting there until someone opens the door.
Wait till you see the shadow of feet under the door.
And then bam, that's it. Low light. It's a hard one. You know what? My low light, despite it being amazing, is Attenborough when asked, hey, what's the deal with this key? Giving us the answer, well, I met Yang this one time at the academy.
Well, what a wonderful pair of episodes, Nick. Julian has
good.
arrived at Heinessen, as has Merkatz. War is on its way. What will happen next time on Legend of the Galactic Heroes in the episode entitled Operation Ragnarok?
Oh my god, okay. Well, obviously, we're going to get a bit of an invasion in Fazan.
Yeah, Operation Ragnarok will be a imperial operation because they take those
big German names.
Norse god, German names, sort of things.
So maybe it'll be...
End of the world.
Yeah, maybe it'll be them setting up at Fazan, and Fazan going, you wouldn't just
You wouldn't Ragnarok us, would you?
Yeah, maybe they want to take over Fazan.
I don't think they need to at this point.
But who knows? Maybe they'll be like,
I don't think they'll go that route, because otherwise what's the point of sending Julian there to learn about their culture and ideals?
No, but they don't know that they're going to try and take over Fazan yet.
They don't need to take over Fazan yet. They already own it, and they've already promised them free passage.
No, but I mean, they want to control Fazan.
Yeah, they can do that after they've crushed the Alliance
That's
anytime
true.
they want.
That is true, yeah. So maybe it'll just be, we're going to go through and start fucking shit up on the other side.
Blitzkrieg.
Exactly. Move fast, mobile infantry, which doesn't really make sense in space.
They're going to walk there.
They're going to walk there. But yeah, I mean, Julian will be there, so maybe he'll get a real understanding of war, and then... So I was saying this before, I think what's probably going to happen now is that Julian will start learning about things contrary to Yang's worldview.
Okay.
And so instead
Which is always right.
Which is always right? Yang is like, we hate war sucks. Maybe Julian will go, war does suck, but it's necessary to maintain order. And Yang will go, I failed you.
Do you think this show has an authoritarian bent?
No, it feels more like a, no matter what you do, shit just sucks kind of vibe.
It's very
to it.
critical of democracy.
Yeah, but everything's
But
critical of
Reinhardt's
democracy.
state is doing well, but it does acknowledge that's only going to stay that way as long as he's alive.
I think it's taking some hard
And he is
truths.
also still just killing his political enemies as much as he wants.
Yeah, it's very much one of those things of like, hey, did you know that no matter what system you have, People suck, and things suck. So as much as you would like it to work, corruption.
Well, we'll see all of that and more next time on JoJo's World. Do all the things you do to support a podcast you like.
Yeah, yell it out on the street. JoJo's World. Give them your money.
But until you do,
To be continued.